Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel for this review of what is the first ever fan built bot character. And as you may know, this is obviously Generations Deluxe Windblade, the 2014 figure. Many of you will already know this was selected and created out of a set of polls that happened in 2013. Firstly, we got to decide it's an Autobot, it's going to be a jet, her weapon is going to be a sword, red and black color scheme, and then the personality was Valiant. That was the most popular one that won out. And then the second set of polls, we got the name, Windblade, female character from K-On!, and finally her specialty is that of a telepath, and what they eventually designed was a city speaker. Windblade's gift is to be able to communicate with the Titans. So an interesting character in the comics, strong, has I guess themes of integrity, holding to truth and duty, and I think she really comes across as maybe somewhat naive, but at the same time convicted. And I think I like overall the character and the way that she's portrayed. She really always tries to do the right thing. So here's a side-by-side with Blur. Who's Windblade going to be interacting with the most? I guess you have Chromia, maybe. She speaks to the most. And then second, perhaps it's actually Starscream. But close in there would be Blur. Those stories where they were at the bar together and those conversations. They went to Velocitron together with Ironhide and Chromia, and eventually Blur participated in the race in Delta City, and she was trying to activate the Titan. Those are the most memorable interactions that I remember of her recent character in the comics. And so there's side by side with Titans Return Blur, really the headmaster version of Blur. Okay, so Jet, Cybertronian design, so they have freedom of design. You don't have to copy anybody, any Earth going jet. Nothing much to say really. It's a VTOL type jet with these wind blades, I suppose, that propellers, turbines that can rotate. And then the only other real gimmick on the plane is that landing gear that can fold up. Apart from that, not much else. You can take out the sword that's stored under the in that peg hole there. That's a sword and scabbard. And that's the jet mode really. So let's go ahead and transform her. So what I like to do is first to unpeg the hands, which means that you unpeg the rear wings here from their tabs. Okay, so those tabs untab, and then at the front these little tabs here untap from the front of the body, and then the arms, you want to swing that little armature upwards on both sides to the shoulder position. Okay, and then you can see the pauldrons, you can swing those up. And those little armatures go to the side, or this little flip to the side. These wings fold up to the main wings, right? Just there, and that's pretty much the arms you can see there. You can reposition these wings in different positions. There's even a articulation on the wing side there, but I guess the default position is just to leave it there. The legs, you can almost see the legs formed there. You can separate those halves of the legs, forming the rear of the body, rotate the waist to the front, and then what you want to do is flip these bits, flip the heel piece down, and then flip the wing to the back, the tail wing. Again on the other side, flip that down, and flip the tail wing to the back, sorry, the other way. And then you can see that's the shins there with the foot. You want to swing that down and clip it to the bottom. Same on this side, swing that down. You can see there's an arm there. Clip it to the bottom, and there's a little tab, that red tab there. tabs into the rear part of the lower leg, and you can see, so that's the heel piece, and that forms the basis of the resting for the feet. Okay, now the head reveal. So head reveal, you want to do is swing the nose and the cockpit of the jet backwards, and then this body part separates out, and there you have the head there. So go ahead and fold that out, grab it and fold it out, and then join the body back. And that's pretty much it for the transformation of Windblade. So let me just get it down there and try to stand her. Now that these heel pieces do want to flip in at the slightest opportunity, so you just have to watch that when you're posing her. And with the sword, this just doesn't want to stand, does it? Okay, there we go. So with the sword, you know, pretty fun little accessory I think I've found. You can actually remove it from the scabbard, of course. You know, what sword would it be without being able to do that? And then place it into, if I can get it, into her hand. Okay, so right there. And then with the scabbard, what I like to do is in the, I guess, orthodox position would be the left hip. So there's those little tabs at the side there. All right, there's also a 5mm grab there. You can put it on the left hand, but what I like to do is put that on the left hip, and that's the orthodox position of the sword for a right-handed swordsman, which is what Windblade is. Okay, so there we have her posing with her her sword, which is called Stormfall. So that's the name of the sword. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and transform blur and then do a side by side. Okay, so here we have Titan's Return Blur, you know, side by side with his, you know, they're often acting together in the comics. So Blur is taller. He's taller by you know, less than a centimeter there on the figure here. And then I'll just do a side by side with my standard Seeker mold that I like to compare things to. And Windblade at the head level is taller than the Seeker mold, but at the you know, these shoulder pieces is slightly taller than the height of the Windblade's head there. Right, so there we go. That's the side by side with our Seeker mold. Okay, articulation wise, let's just put the other figures aside. Head does go left and right and up and down. Up and down is partly for the transformation. Just to mention as well that that headdress piece does come out. It's called a tassel, I think, but I don't really know why that would, you know, be made into that. It's really quite a fragile, transparent plastic piece. I'm not going to demonstrate it here. Just be quite afraid of breaking it. Okay, I'll take out the swords and the other accessories. So we've shown the wing articulation. For the shoulder, you have an in and out ball joint for the shoulder position, and that pauldron does articulate. There is also a mushroom peg for the upper arm, for upper arm rotation, and then we have a hinge for the elbow. Okay, and additionally, there's also a rotation for the wrist on the, I guess, a mushroom peg type of joint for that wrist. It does rotate. Okay, now waist, you've already seen the waist articulation for the part of the transform. You have ball joints for the hips, and there's also a mushroom for the upper leg rotation. It's limited by the assembly towards the hip there and the waist, but you know, there is a rotation there. You have a hinge for the knee, and there's no real ankle articulation as such. This hinge heel piece does want to bend in, but that's not really, I don't consider that articulation. That's supposed to be staying straight. It just wants to fold in at the slightest opportunity. So there you have it. Windblade, you know, the Generations Deluxe character, the first ever fan-built bot. You know, what I like about this character, I do like her characterization, her personality in the comics. I do like the character design for the, the fact that she's a jet, even though the jet I'm not particularly fond of. I like that she's an Autobot jet. We don't get a lot of those. I like the face design, how she's, how she carries herself like a, almost like a samurai warrior in the comics is really quite enjoyable to see. And there's good accessories, she comes with a scabbard, a kind of a transparent type, I guess laser type sword maybe, and there's a removable headdress which I don't really use, but those are fair accessories. I enjoy a sword rather than a gun. But I think overall there's so many flaws in the execution of this character. It's got weak joints. You can see how much I've struggled to pose this character, to stand it. Those legs just want to straighten out and make the robot fall backwards. It doesn't peg together very well. These are quite loose, and these wing pieces do tend to fold around as you move the arms. That's not too bad, but I guess there's not a great deal of integration into the robot. They're kind of just sitting there. And then when you go into the plane mode, these wings don't tab in well at all. The shin pieces don't sit very well. There's no way for them to tab in, so they're kind of loose. And and the arms, well, the arms are okay. They hold in, they kibble under the plane, but at least the arms hold in place. So I think there's lots of flaws in the execution of the robot. I do like the character as it's portrayed in the comics, but it's a pity that this figure is not the best. And I still got her on discount, so it's worth it if you get her on a discount. I certainly probably wouldn't have enjoyed her as much if I had to pay full price. So there you go, Windblade, the Generations Deluxe figure. Thank you for watching this much, and as always, I will catch you guys next time.